Hare Krishna. Is this your home? Ah, okay. Okay. Who's this? How do you know? 10 heads. And how many arms? 20. How did he get 10 heads and 20 arms? The freak. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Prachadine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatadine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. Everybody's favorite, Ravana. So there's a lot to say about Ravana. We're not going to get to all of what we have to say about Ravana this evening, but an introduction, and in going through this before coming here, it's, a lot of it, there's some pastime, but a lot of it is information. So I hope you don't mind information, because understanding where Ravana fits into everything is important to understanding the personality. Something we're going to hear in the course of this evening is who came first, Hiranyaksha and Ranyakashipu, or Ravana and Kumbhakarna? Chronologically, who came first? Hiranyaksha and Ranyakashipu. We'll hear one of the persons who who Ravana visited was Bali Maharaj. Bali, he was seeking, because Bali was a very powerful personality, and also the son of a demon. He was thinking he could build some bondage, like a pact with Bali. So he went to visit Bali. And one of the things that happened is Bali said, "I want to make a gift. See over there? It's a mountain of gold. Just take it. It's yours." And Ravana liked gold, so he was ready to take it, but he couldn't lift it with his 20 arms. He was very powerful. He couldn't lift it. And as he spent more time trying to lift it this way, that way, he realized, wait a minute, this isn't a mountain of gold. This is the earring. And Bali Maharaj said, when Hiranyakashipu was killed, one of his earrings fell down here to Sutala. That's his earring. And so, if you know what's good for you, don't mess with Lord Vishnu. Better get while the getting's good. But he took it a different way. He took it, oh, now there's some history to my animosity to, or in relationship with Vishnu. And so I really need to take revenge, because that's the demoniac mentality. Here's an image that shows his ancestry. So from Brahma, there were a number of direct personalities that came directly from his body. One of them was Palashya. So we're going to hear about Palashya later. He's the grandfather of Ravana. So Palashya married a Brahmani, Trinabindu's daughter, and there was one son, Vishrava. So Vishrava, very elevated Brahmana. This becomes important later. When Ravana was killed because he's the son of a Brahmana father, there was some concern that there may have been some sin for killing the son of a Brahmana. Maybe some of you know about this. So, with that thought in mind, um, no, Hare Krishna. With that thought in mind, Ramachandra worshipped Lord Shiva. It's one of the explanations of why he worshipped Lord Shiva, in order to deal with the possible incurring of a sin for having killed the son of a Brahmana, although he was a demon, etc., etc., etc. So Vishrava was his father, and Vishrava married the daughter of Bharadraj Muni. And we heard about Bharadraj Muni already. Bharadraj Muni was the son, was the disciple of Valmiki Muni. Yes? Bharadraj Muni was the disciple of Valmiki. He has a role to play in that composition of Ramayana. So he had a daughter, Bharadraj Muni had a daughter, and Vishrava married the daughter. And they had as a son Vaishravana, who later became appointed as Kuvera. We'll hear of that pastime also. So far, so good. We don't see anything having anything to do with Ravana, but there was the daughter of a Rakshasa warrior, Sumali, and Sumali. We'll see another family chart or lineage chart shortly. Sumali thought, if my daughter were to marry Vishrava, then a very powerful son would be born. So he got this bright idea to send his daughter, Kaikashi, unannounced to the ashram of Vishrava and petition Vishrava to accept her as his wife. There's some detail which we'll hear, but she came at a not the best time. He was in the midst of a yagya. And once you start a yagya, you don't stop the yagya. So he just continued the yagya, and she's standing there scratching the ground with her toe and palms folded and pretty nervous, so you can imagine. Not the usual way a marriage is arranged. When he finished the yagya, he revealed to her, I know who you are. I know why you've come. I know what's on your mind. And I'm not going to say no, but I'll let you know. the children that we born of you, because you came at this inauspicious time, they'll be terrible demons. But one good compensation is the youngest of those children born of you will be a great devotee. And that was Vibhishan. So in sequence, Dasa Griva means he had 10 necks, right? You know that the name of one of the names of the Supreme Lord, incarnation of the Supreme Lord that has Griva in his name? Hayagriva. He had a horse neck. He had a horse head too. Hayagriva. So Dasagriva, he had 10 necks, which means he had 10 heads. So that was the name. When he was born, here's this child with 10 heads. Wow. Dasagriva. Good name for a kid with 10 heads. And then Kumbhakarna, then Shirpanaka, daughter was born, and then Vibhishan. So here's a painting, meant to be a painting of Palasya, born from the mind of Lord Brahma. And then came his son, Vishravas. And here's some British library paintings, British library filled with paintings of Ramayana, because Ramayana is a very celebrated text. When they did their thing in India, they had a fascination for Ramayana, many other things too, but lots and lots and lots and lots of paintings. So you'll see lots of paintings along this style. In the lower right, there's Bharadraj Muni in that little cottage there, and he's speaking to his daughter, and his daughter agrees. His daughter is taken to the ashram of Vishravas, that's in the center of that painting up above, and then they become married. And the devas are showering flowers on the marriage of the daughter of Bharadraj Muni and Vishravas. And their first son was named Vaishravana. Vaishravana has a very different meaning than, what happened? Whoa, what happened? Something happened. Here we go. So in this painting, Lord Brahma, that's riding on a swan carrier, looks like a peacock to me, albino peacock. Brahma is seen flying on a swan carrier, and again, in the left foreground, Brahma, so there's Brahma in the center and the bottom, he's granting Vaishravana the boon of being Kavera. So the way that it works in Vedic culture, according to the Puranas, every time there's a new Manu, there's a whole new set of devas. So at least this depiction shows it's not the next Manu selected who was going to be Kuvera, but Brahma selected who's going to be Kuvera. So the son of Vishravas became Kuvera. So Vaishravana became Kuvera. That means Ravana and Kuvera are brothers, stepbrothers, not same mother, but stepbrothers. And then in the center at the top, that's the Pushpaka Vimana. The Pushpaka Vimana was a gift given to Kuvera. So he can go here and there wherever he likes. And on the far right, that's Vishrava being asked by his son where to live. And here is where he was given to live. By his Pushpaka chariot headed towards the city of Lanka. and the doorkeeper stands guard. That's this fellow just above the fish there, in front of the palace at Lanka. Vishravas is seated in his hut. It's a nice hut in the upper right. So when Kaikashi came to his ashram at the wrong time, he expressed, we'll see some nice paintings of that too. Because you have approached me at an inauspicious time, your sons will become fierce Rakshasas. As a concession, your youngest son will become famous as a pious man. So here's some more British Library paintings. Up on the top side, that's Kaikashi coming to Vishravas while he's doing the fire yagya. As you see in front of him, that's the fire yagya. And then down below, that's the children born of Kaikashi. Kaikashi is with Vibhishan on her lap, and then right behind her is Dasagriva, and then behind Dasagriva is Kumbhakarna, and then Mataji in the back, that's Shurpanakha. So Ravana, when he was old enough, he started doing austerities, and he did very severe austerities. There's a long description of his severe, severe, severe. You know, that's the standard ones, up to his neck in water in the winter, and around circle of fire around him in the summer, and go to extremes. And he was really intent on getting boons from Lord Brahma. He asked for the usual immortality, and then can't give him immortality, so he wanted other boons. May I never experience defeat at the hands of Gandharvas, celestials, Kinnaras, Asuras, Yakshas, Rakshasas, serpents, and all other creatures. He got the boons from Brahma. And so now Ravana went to his maternal grandfather. We already heard Sumali, right? And assumed the army of Sumali. Like, he's a powerful dude, so he wanted to be in charge of a big army. He went to Somali, and Somali was fine. Let the younger generation take my army. So that was an arrangement that was made. Now he has a brother. His brother's Kumbhakarna, and Kumbhakarna followed his elder brother, lots and lots and lots and lots of austerities, and his benediction, lots of sleep. And then when he was awake, he would wander all over the universe, devouring rishis. Yummy. While Vibhishan was engaged in study of the Vedas. Here's Lord Brahma offering his benediction to Vibhishan. You may accept a benediction from me according to your desire. Vibhishan replied, my dear Lord, since you are pleased with me, the goal of my life has already been achieved. My only wish is that my mind may always remain steadily fixed upon the path of virtue, even amidst the greatest of difficulties. Those of you that are towards the front, come a little further front, because there's some people out in the balcony over there and they can't see. You young boy, young girl, dressed in yellow, come forward so people behind you can come forward a little bit. Thank you, thank you. We'll probably do this another couple of times before we're done. Now that Ravana has these benedictions from Brahma, he goes on a rampage. He wants to conquer anybody and everybody. And he doesn't, it's not just people on Earth planet. He wants to go to the heavenly planets and do his thing in the heavenly planets. He conquers Indra, Varuna, Yamaraj. We're going to see a battle. Yamaraj and Ravana fighting. So in the upper right, we recognize the fellow that's on the elephant carrier. Who's that? Do you know who rides an elephant? Who rides the elephant? Indra. Very good. Okay. And down in the lower left, that's Dasagriva, the man with the 10 heads, going on a campaign, battling with the demigods. After some time, he, Ravana, was given a queen to marry. Mandodari was his queen, and Mandodari was the daughter of Mayadanava. Mayadanava. We hear Mayadanava's name a few times. Mayadanava was the son of Kashyapa and Danu, therefore Danavas. The son of Danu was Danava, or the category of sons of Danu and Kashyapa. Mayadanava, he did some austerities, and he wanted austerities, wanted benedictions from Brahma, and his benediction was he wanted all the mystic powers known by Indra. He didn't want to be Indra, he wanted to compete with him. Mayadanava then in turn married an Apsara named Hema. And she had 3 children, 2 sons named Mayavi and Dundubi, and 1 daughter, Mandodari. Mandodari became the wife of Ravana. Both Mayavi and Dundubi will hear, I mean, not this particular, when the personalities of Ramayana get around to Vali, Dundubi becomes an important person because Dundubi came and challenged Vali, and and Dundubi got the worst of it. Vali finished him, and to take revenge. So there was those are 2 of the sons of Mayadanava, and his daughter married Ravana. Maya had mystic powers because that's what he wanted, and so he made a mystical palace for Hema, made of jewels and gold. After thousands of years of marriage, Hema left. 14 years later is when Mayadanava met Ravana, and this marriage arrangement was made. At the time of his daughter's marriage, Mayadanava gave his son-in-law, that's Ravana, the wonderful spear he acquired after executing his austerities. And that was the Shakti Shela weapon given by Mayadanava at the time of his marriage. And it's that Shakti Shela weapon that's the weapon that harmed Lakshman on the battlefield, because he had this weapon from Mayadanava, his father-in-law. Very complicated. I mean, especially a person like me, all these in-laws and relatives and family lineages, and some persons it works well with, and for me it's a big struggle. So Mandodari becomes Ravana's wife. Imagine marrying a guy with 10 heads and 20 arms. But she was very faithful, very obedient, and very good wife. And he, Dasagriva, he's not Ravana yet by name, he arranged for the daughter of Bali Maharaja's daughter to marry Kumbhakarna. So he's the elder brother making marriage arrangements for his younger brother. And the marriage arrangement was Bali Maharaj's daughter. We mentioned at the very beginning, for those who came a little bit late, Ravana visited Bali Maharaj to make a friendship with him. So there was already some prior arrangement because Bali Maharaj's daughter became Kumbhakarna's wife. And then a Gandharva king had a daughter, and the Gandharva king married Vibhishan. This is the elder brother making a suitable arrangement for Vibhishan's wife. We're going to hear some more about her in a moment. And Shurpanakha got the privilege of being married to a Danava king. Somehow, we don't hear much about him. It's just as well, too. So, Mandodari, the wife of Ravana, gave birth to a son. And the son was given the name Meghanadha because when he was born, there was a big sound like thunder. So I hope you get ready to hear some thunder. It's embedded into the slide. Here we go. Oh, come on. Ten heads and thunder, and what's next? And he later became known as Indra Jit or Jitta because he conquered Indra. And he, like his father and all the other fellows in his family, they underwent austerities. And he went austerities and he wanted mystic powers. So he got them. He could become invisible. He could, during the daytime, was a daytime battle, he can make darkness, and he could do all kinds of mystical things. Indrajit. Later, when he was a little older, they went together with Daddy to conquer Indra. This is a British Library painting. So there we see Indra on the upper left. Indra's riding the elephant. And then there's Brahma riding his swan carrier and various devas on the upper left. On the just below, that's the battle of Ravana and his buddies. And so Ravana is surrounded by his demon army. The lower section shows Meghanada, or Ravani, Ravana's son, in armor on a horse. See the fellow on the horse? That's Indrajit, later Indrajit. And he was able to defeat Indra. And here we hear that the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, approached Ravana and Indrajit asking for Indra's release. So they gave him release on a condition. So here's when Indrajit returned for Indra's release, he requested from Brahma. At the time of battle, this is very important in the whole of the battle scenes in Lanka. At the time of battle, if I offer oblations into the sacrificial fire, according to Vedic injunctions, let a huge chariot emerge from the flames. Then, as long as I remain seated upon that chariot, let me be immune to death. Thus, only if I engage in battle without having finished the chanting of mantras and offering of oblations shall I be subject to destruction. That was a key piece of information that was important in this destruction of Indrajit. So he got the benediction he wanted from Brahma. And then in this section, Brahma informs everyone why Indra got this problem of being defeated by Indrajit. And it's because his violation of Ahalya. That's another part of Ramayana. Very complicated, many pieces to the puzzle. But Indra violated Ahalya. So Ahalya became a stone, and Indrajit got defeated by, Indra got defeated by Indra. So now Ravana is feeling pretty good about himself. He's got a very powerful son. And he's now going to go try to do battle with his stepbrother, Kuvera. And he does battle with his stepbrother, Kuvera, and he defeats Kuvera. And from his victory in defeating Kuvera, he gets this Pushpaka Vimana that was given to Kuvera. You know about the Pushpaka Vimana? You've heard of it before? Pushpaka Vimana. It's the way that Prabhupada describes it. It's a craft, like a spacecraft that doesn't have a steering wheel. It's just you think a thought, and the Pushpaka Vimana takes you there. Zoom. And anywhere you want to go in the universe. And it doesn't crash either. It can get really big. When Ramchandra came back to Ayodhya, he came in the Pushpaka Vimana. He had to hurry back because he didn't want his brother Bharata to do harm to himself. So he came in his Pushpaka Vimana. Zoom, zoom, zoom. And it was expanded to carry all the Vanara armies. It's like a big, bigger than a 747 for sure. Big, big machine. So he defeated his brother and usurped from him this Pushpaka Vimana. We heard earlier that he did battle with Yamaraj, and he defeated Yamaraj. So Ravana is feeling really good about himself. He made a couple mistakes, though. He went to the abode of Lord Shiva, and there was Nandi at the gate of Kailash, and he started making fun of Nandi. Don't make fun of Nandi, whatever you do. Because Nandi then cursed him. So there's 7 curses we'll hear. Nandi cursed him that because of your making fun of my face, that you're saying it's a monkey-like face, the curse is a powerful monkey army will bring about the destruction of your entire army dynasty. So there. Don't offend Nandi. And the painting, there's Ramachandra being carried on a palanquin, it looks like. And there, right behind him is Lakshmana being carried on, looks like a Vanara. And there's Vibhishan flying in the air with his 4 ministers. And then there's Lanka over there on the left as they're invading Lanka. Then his name, Dasagriva, became Ravana because when he went to Kailash, ignoring Nandi, he tried lifting Kailash. When he started lifting Kailash, the whole of Kailash was trembling. And Parvati turned to her husband and said, "What's that? What's that?" He said, "Don't worry, it's just a little pipsqueak guy." He placed his toe on the mountain, Mount Kailash, and his 20 arms got stuck underneath the mountain. getting squished, and he was roaring with great pain. Because he was roaring in great pain, Dasagriva became Ravana, which is the opposite of his younger brother. No, his stepbrother, Ravana, means hear distinctly. That's Kuvera, named Vaishravana by his father. And to pacify Lord Shiva, his veins were sticking out. There's different descriptions, but his veins were sticking out. So he was plucking his veins and singing, making musical sound. Lord Shiva became pacified. You're a good musician. Well done. So he then lifted his toe, and Ravana learned a lesson. Don't mess with Nandi and don't mess with Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva gave him a sword, Chandra Hasa, sword. But Parvati or Uma was not at all pleased, so she gave a curse. Oh, wicked Rakshasa, a woman will one day become the cause of your death. And sure enough, the third curse came from Vedavati. Vedavati is a long history. One time, just not going in a conquering mission, just zooming around in the Pushpaka Vimana, he happened to pass over a forest in the Himalayas, and over the side of the Pushpaka Vimana, he noticed a young woman named Vedavati who was undergoing austerities. And her austerities were very purposeful. She wanted Narayana as her husband. We're going to hear the history. So he brings Pushpaka Vimana in for a landing next to her and asks her, what are you doing out here in the forest? A single lady doing austerities. Who are you and what's going on? So she gives her biography. She is the daughter of the sage Kushadwaj. And Kushadwaj was the son, one of the sons of Brihaspati. So she lived in a previous yuga. He, her father, and her husband lived in a previous yuga, Krita Yuga or Satya Yuga. And during that yuga, her father was killed by a king named Shambhu. And so she cursed Ravana and gave up her body when he tried to abduct her, and she became reborn as Sita in the next yuga. Here's what it says in Uttarakhanda. She's answering, who are you? I'm the daughter of the Brahmarshi Kushtadwaj, son of Brihaspati. My name is Vedavati because I'm considered to be an incarnation of the Vedas. Many demigods and other highly qualified men have approached my father asking for my hand in marriage. However, he has turned them all down, for he feels only Lord Vishnu would make a suitable son-in-law. So when King Shambhu, king of the Daityas, heard this, he came and killed my father in his sleep. My mother then entered the fire of cremation, carrying the body of her husband in her arms. Since that time, I've installed Lord Narayana within my heart and have performed austerities, hoping to attain him as my husband, O Ravana. By dint of my ascetic merit, I know everything about you. Therefore, please leave. He doesn't take no for an answer. He descended from his Pushpaka Vimana and directly requested her to become his wife. And of course, She declined. Who is Vishnu in comparison to me? And she said, who other than you would dare to speak disrespectfully of Lord Narayana? Even as she spoke, Ravana grabbed Vedavati by the hair. Inflamed with rage, the girl immediately transformed one of her arms into a sword and cut off her hair. She was no longer on the grip of Ravana. Then, while lighting a fire, Vedavati said, after being touched by you, I no longer desire to live. I shall not curse you, for that would decrease my ascetic merit. However, I shall take another birth in a divine manner just to encompass your destruction. So, Vedavati part 2, Sita. Employing her mystic power, she came to the sacrificial ground of King Janak. As King Janak was leveling the ground with a plow, the girl appeared from the furrow as a baby. Thus it came to be that Vedavati, appearing in Satya Yuga, became Janaki in Treta Yuga. Interesting history, right? And she's given him a curse. Not directly, but in a future life, I'll bring about your destruction. And then there's some commentary that says the Sita that was kidnapped, Maya Sita, was the Sita that was kidnapped, was Vedavati. And Vedavati is a jiva. And Sita is not a jiva. But the Sita that was kidnapped was Maya Sita. That's Vedavati. This is commentary. Some say this and some say that, but it's a commentary. When Ravana tried to molest her, she entered into the fire. The real Sita, in a body taken to Kailash by Agni, so Maya Sita was taken, the real Sita was taken by Agni to Kailash to be under care of Uma and Lord Shiva until the time was right for her to return. So Maya Sita or Vedavati knew all of what was going on. But the real Sita was also present with Maya Sita. That's the commentary. So the expansion or the Maya Sita, the original is within that expansion. So I will be born again and be the cause of your destruction. That's this curse, number 3. Next, he comes to, Ravana came to Ayodhya, and the British Library painting is showing the armies of Ravana coming to deal with King Aranya. And you see in the center of the painting, the fellow on the white horse, that's Aranya. That's the king of Ayodhya. There's an umbrella, royal umbrella, and so forth and so on. He was defeated by Ravana. And before he died, he foretold, a descendant of mine will bring about your destruction. So, curse number 4. This is Aranya. In the future, a descendant in my dynasty named Rama will be the cause of your destruction. Not exactly a curse, it's a prediction. And, Ravana is very active. He likes ladies a lot. And so when he went to the kingdom outside of Kuvera's palace was the, the Ramba, the wife of Nalakuvera, and he molested her. There's Ravana, going after Ramba, and she cursed him. If, impelled by lust, you force yourself upon any unwilling woman or women, your head or heads will burst into 7 pieces. So 10 heads each into 7 pieces. And a very similar curse was made by a Apsara, Punjika Stali. He molested her. Later, during the whole situation where they're in Lanka and Mahaparshva, one of his elders, wanted to know from Ravana why you didn't force yourself upon Sita. And he said, this lady, this Apsara, cursed me. Oh, wicked king of the Rakshasas, your head will split into 100 pieces if you ever forcibly rape another woman again. That wasn't enough. He's got to get another curse. He's really piling up the curses. The ladies whom he abducted. So that is to say, whenever he would travel and he saw beautiful ladies, he took them with him forcibly. So abduction. And, wanted them to become submissive to him. Ravana kidnapped the virgin daughters of many kings, rishis, demigods, and demons. If Ravana saw any girl that he found to be attractive, he would first kill all her relatives and then forcibly take her on his chariot or the pushpaka vimana. In this way, Ravana's chariot became filled with hundreds of such girls, all crying out pitifully from fear and grief. The bereaved girls considered their plight and cursed Ravana. Number 7. May the destruction of this wicked Rakshasa come about because of a woman. So he's got some problems waiting for him. Now, one of the battles that he conducted, he was defeated more than once. One of them was Kartaviryarjuna. Kartaviryarjuna not only had 20 arms, he had 1,000 arms. And he had a number of wives. This is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9. So Ravana saw Kartaviryarjuna and he spoke some insulting words to Kartaviryarjuna in front of the ladies. And that was a mistake. And so there was a big battle. And he was imprisoned by Kartaviryarjuna. But the grandfather of Ravana, whose name starts with a P, Palastya. His father was Vishravas, and his father was Palastya Muni, and his father was Brahma. So Palastya came to Kartaviryarjuna's prison and petitioned, please release my grandson. And so after that, they made peace. Let's get together, woo. Let's make friendship and work together and no more battling with one another, please. It was a bad idea. Sorry about that. In the painting from the British Museum, this is Ravana in the upper left in his pushpaka vimana along with his armies below that. And then on the right side, there's Kartaviryarjuna with his lives. There's 1,000 arms with his wives in a river. And in the painting, it shows a battle between Kartaviryarjuna and Prahasta. And then you see Prahasta lying dead, killed by Kartavirya. And then another, the one with all the white arms, that's Kartavirya. So battle and battle and battle, and Kartavirya won. The text, Kartavirya hit Ravana with his mace, and Ravana fell to the ground unconscious. And then he's put in jail in the palace of Kartavirya. And then in the upper right, that's Pulasya coming to visit Kartavirya, saying, "Please release my grandson." And at the bottom, we see Pushpaka Vimana taking Ravana away, and Ravana is defeated. He's ashamed. Another person who defeated him was Vali. It didn't actually get to be a battle, but Ravana came to do battle because he wanted, wherever there was somebody powerful, he wanted to do battle with them. When he came to a place where Vali's kingdom was, he was absent, because during a certain time in the morning, Vali could travel really fast. He went in the four directions and took his sacred bath every day, north, south, east, and west, in the whole land. And Ravana tried to catch him. So Vali just tucked him under his armpit. Well, I'll deal with you later. Right now I'm busy taking my morning bath. He understood, don't mess with Vali. So he made a pact, a peace truce with Vali, also like with Kartavirya. The painting below, there's the Pushpaka Vimana in the upper right, and he's coming to the kingdom of Vali. He's greeted by Sugriva, Vali's brother, and Sugriva's wife Tara said he's not around right now. And yeah. Here it's showing making a pact. There's Vali and Ravana making a peace pact, chewing betel nut. He went, this we mentioned this already, but he went to the abode of Bali Maharaj. It doesn't say sequentially when this happened, because already we heard he made an arrangement for the daughter Bali Maharaj to marry Kumbhakarna. But here's another visit, and the details say he couldn't get in to see Bali. Why not? Who is at the gate? Vamana. Very good. Yeah. So Vamana came to take away all of Bali's possessions. And then he agreed, and he tied him up as if a criminal. But then he said, I just wanted to just see how great is Vali. Even humiliated after surrendering everything, he's making no protest. Just see how great he is. I will become his gatekeeper for as long as he lives. So Vamana, that's where Vamana is. Ravana couldn't get in. He tried to get in. That was a mistake. One kick with his foot, and he couldn't get in. So when he came before Bali, the description is, Bali said, how'd you get in? He said, he let me in. They had some discussion. Why he had come to see Bali was explained. And he let him in. So Bali said, thank you for coming. Here's the gift. There's a mountain of gold that's yours. Just take it with you. And powerful as Ravana was, we heard this at the very beginning for those who came a little later. He couldn't lift it. As powerful as he was, he couldn't lift it. And then he realized that the reason I can't lift it is because it's not just a mountain of gold, it's an earring. And Vali said, your your predecessor, Hiranyakashipu, when he was killed by Lord Nrsingadev, one of his earrings fell. This is his earring. As Hiranyakashipu was killed by Lord Vishnu, you will also be killed by Lord Vishnu. So, better, he specifically said, don't do these nefarious activities. You're going to have a big problem. He didn't heed. There's another description found in Ramayana that he went to the abode where it's identified as Mahapurusha, but it's the abode of Kapila. And Kapila Muni is in one of the lower 7 planetary systems called Atala Loka. And he tried to do battle with Mahapurusha. It's Ravana's fool. He was defeated. And there you see he's knocked on the ground by Lord Kapiladev, who is a Brahmana. And we're almost done, at least for this evening, because all of this is to give description of the background of Ravana and how Ravana was, his life was already set up to be destroyed. Because he, nefarious activity after nefarious activity after, and he wouldn't heed. Tomorrow we're going to be discussing, Krishna permits, we'll be discussing about Vibhishan. And Vibhishan specifically, repeatedly, reminding him to follow the codes of proper conduct. And you're not following proper conduct, and there's consequences for not following proper conduct. It's a disgrace for our family. So please follow proper conduct. And please return Sita. And all these queens are these daughters of princes and kings and rishis and people. You're in big trouble for this misconduct, the violation of Dharma. The painting here from the British Library, Mahapurusha is being depicted not as Kapila, but Lord Vishnu reclining on Anantashesh. And Lakshmi is at his feet. And there's fool Ravana wanting to have battle. That was a big mistake. He makes many mistakes, but foolish people make mistakes. And persons that are proud make more mistakes than even foolish people. But foolishness and pride go well together. Now, it's been a while since I've spent some time with the whole Ramayana story, but it just going through the pieces and pieces and pieces and how the pieces fit together in the big puzzle. The essence is very similar to the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Just surrender to Krishna. Mamekam sharanam. And those that do so have their slate is made clean. And those that don't do so, however, they may do something to get something, and they may get that something, they're defeated. Whoever, anyone, little people, medium people, big people, anyone. It's the wrong position. So the right position is take shelter of the personality of Godhead. The topic of Vibhishan surrender is a really important one in the whole of Ramayana because it's like the essence of Ramayana. Lord Ramachandra making a pledge that he will never violate. That he makes a statement to Sita, even you or Sugriva, who is more dear to me than my very life, I won't break my pledge to my devotee to give them protection. I can give you up, Sita. I can give up Sugriva, but I can't give up my pledge to my devotee to give protection to my devotee. So take shelter from that person who is so capable. And then what to speak of, just flip it around and challenge the personality of Godhead or those who are representing the personality of Godhead, because the personality of Godhead will protect the devotee. And to protect the devotee doesn't mean you'll never stub your toe or you'll never get sick or never have, some difficulty. That's not what it means. But even when there's difficulty, the protection is always there. Always, 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 always. And the all powerful personality of God, we may not understand many times. I know people that don't understand. When there's some misfortune, why? What did I do? Or what did he do? Why I had this? Why I have this misfortune? It's a standard kind of question. It does not mean that that person is been too sinful, so they're getting prarabdha karma, and their karma is now fructifying because they were too sinful. That's not the definition of what happens to a devotee. Something else can happen to a devotee when there's misfortune, but it turns out as fortune. Sounds like a contradiction, doesn't it? So for demons like Ravana, etc., misfortune is their own doing. Then it's not just, good fortune. It's they're getting it's dharma, and violation of dharma has consequences. But for a devotee, there may be misfortune, but it's something else altogether. It's a different rule. It's the internal potency acting to help the devotee one way or another understand once and for all, for example, the futility of trying to find happiness where there's no happiness, trying to find happiness in the illusory realm, trying to find water in a desert, and complaining, how come there's no water in this desert? How come I'm not finding happiness and instead of getting misery in a place of misery? Something's wrong with God. There's something's wrong is the the misuse of free will bringing us into this position to begin with, thinking that happiness by definition is something apart from Krishna, something from apart from the source of happiness. And some of us are a little dull. We don't learn so easily. So we have to get, some little prods every now and then, or bonks on the head every now and then to remind us. Maybe you know some people. I know some really nice devotees. And they have chronic this and that. And when it's this is subsides, then it's that. And when then that subsides, it's another. And then it's another. And then it keeps the kaleidoscope. However you turn the kaleidoscope, it's always dark. So is something wrong with that devotee, or something wrong with Krishna that they're putting through so much difficulty? And when going through difficulty, then they can't do so much service because they're dealing with the difficulty. They have to. They're obliged to. So is Krishna being unkind, or they just got this load of karma that has to be unloaded? It's not. It's neither. What is it? And it's easy to say it. It's another thing to live it, or to have somebody that's really close to you that's going through that, or be going through that yourself. So the purification that a devotee undergoes is not so easy to understand. or fully accept when when it's misfortune after misfortune after misfortune. Mami kam sharanam. It's a nice verse. And then live it. Well, I've got my conditions. Okay, so tomorrow Vibhishan, and then Vishvamitra Muni. That's the plan. Let's see if Krishna permits the plan. Who knows what's going to happen? Let's see if there's some discussion. Yes. Even though well, they Ravana is the one that wanted to pick a fight, but Vali didn't want to pick a fight. Vali was busy getting purification, going to the holy places to take his morning bath. So Bali just tucked him under his armpit, and took him here and there, and so he could understand Vali's not ordinary. So let me not mess with Vali. Let's make friendship. But Vali, had done something quite similar. At least later, he did something quite similar to what Ravana did. Birds of a feather. Have you noticed? In your backyard, there's a lot of birds. Have you noticed? Yeah. And there's always, they go in pairs or two and three. The little ones, and then there's the red ones, and then there's the other ones. In the backyard yesterday, there were 12 blackbirds having a big feast in your backyard. Yummy. They were after something. 12 of them. But they're all the same birds of a feather. So birds of a feather flock together. So Vali had a tendency like Ravana. I mean, the circumstance was different, but they had similar tendency. So they made a friendship. Powerful tendency type person, powerful tendency type person, they made a friendship. Convenience. If you can't beat them, join them, right? You've heard that phrase before? If you can't beat them, join them. So they joined, they became comrades. It's similar to, it's different from, 180 degrees different from, but when Ram and Sugriva made a friendship with fire and vows and friendship, to assist one another in regaining their kidnapped wife. Because Vali kidnapped Sugriva's wife, his brother. He kidnapped his wife and was hanging out with his wife. That's not nice. So, birds of a feather. Vali had big problems because of that, as powerful as he was. There's another cliche. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. You've heard that one? You've heard that one. Bigger they are, the harder they fall. Bali had a big crash. Robin had a big crash too. Indrajit had a big crash too. Bigger they are, the harder they fall. So what to do? Two things. Just in terms of this narration of Ramayana, live the same as Bhagavad Gita. Live a life of dharma, live by virtue, and take full shelter of the personality of Godhead. Two things. Pretty simple. Live a life of virtue according to the codes of Dharma and take full shelter of the personality of Godhead. And keep in the association of those that are living their life in those two ways. Dharmic persons, persons who live by virtue, and persons who devoted to the personality of Godhead, exclusively devoted. Keep that association. You're headed in the right direction. Anything else? Yes. Yeah. Yeah, he blew it. Yeah. Pride. Yeah. And animals too. What animal, what human can hurt me? Yeah. Yes. S- Come around tomorrow. There can be more. There'll be more. There will be more Leela, and but there's going to be some additional dynasty charts. It took. Just I'll say it again. It took me a whole while to sort all this out because it's not. I'm not inclined in this way. I mean, a lot of time, not to make the charts, but to like who's who and where who. So now, there's other things that go well with pride, but where does pride arise from? Pride arises from misidentification with the body. There's I, aham, and there's mama. The phrase in the Bhagavatam, aham mameti. Aham, that's a conception of self. And mama is mine. And one becomes prideful in mine. So what's mine? If you're in the bodily conception, mine is what comes from the body. My work, the fruits of my work, that's mine. My money, my bank balance, and all that money can buy, my car, my house, my family, my children, mine. That's in the mine category. And then when it becomes proudful of, it's mine and territorial. Woof, woof, get away from mine. Protection of mine. And so it's rooted in the bodily conception. That's ignorance or foolishness. Uh, that's a secret I'm not going to tell. His wife asked a similar question during the earlier session today. And there's a nice verse along with the bodily conception and comes pride, comes fear. The animal instincts arise from the bodily conception. You familiar with the verse? Bayam dutiyam abinibeshi taksyat. It's a nice verse. Look it up. Bayam. Bayam means fear. Syat means arises. Fear arises when one has abhinivesh, or absorption in the conception of the body, dvitiyam, the conception of duality. So, fear and pride, they arise from the bodily conception, and that's ignorance, that's foolishness. Happiness comes from connecting with the temporary, another foolishness. It's ignorance. It's the material conception of life, avidya, foolishness. So, you want to see the connection? That's the connection. No, and then what to do is the eradication. So one can go for cultivation of knowledge. That's what some people like. Light overcomes darkness. So cultivate knowledge, it overcomes ignorance. Vidya overcomes avidya. But it's doesn't stick because there's still the tendency to be an enjoyer, separate from the source of that light. That sticks. How do you get rid of that? Transforming it back to its original condition. That's bhakti. That's the remedy. What to do, why, and what to do. Just a little sharing. There was a period of time in America. Media goes in waves, and there was a problem. There was a big wave of crime, and there was a big article, Time magazine. The banner was crime, why, and what to do. So Prabhupada beat the drum. Crime, why, and what to do. It's the same. It's the same principle, just applied differently. It's ignorance. Ignorance of what brings happiness, and crime is a violation of man's law, but what about God's law? That's primordial crime, and so we suffer. So the remedy is God consciousness. The spiritual solution is the solution to all material problems. We just discussed it the other morning. Canto 1, Chapter 1, text number 8 and 9, where Prabhupada writes, material well-being follows spiritual well-being. Like a shadow follows the object that casts a shadow. Because the chapter, Canto 1, Chapter 1 is questions by the sages. And the sages are asking Sutta, please, it's one of the 6 questions, please tell us what is the ultimate and absolute good for all living entities. That's a big question. And that's spiritual well-being brings about material well-being. And there's, nice purport Prabhupada wrote in Vrindavan to educate the world on spirituality. Spirituality isn't just mode of goodness. Spirituality is the ultimate and absolute good for all living entities. And the absence of that is foolishness. In different varieties, different flavors, strawberry, vanilla, chocolate, raspberry, different varieties. But it's not yummy. It's ignorance. It's foolishness. Anything else? You're making it easy on me. You have something? You sure? Think of something. He's on the hot seat now. It's okay. It's okay. Srila Prabhupada